What's going on, everyone? So I did a video diving into Wemby and my frustrations with him shooting the three ball so heavily. I want to see him shoot threes. I think that is an excellent kind of weapon in his arsenal for him. Right? It keeps the defense on their toes. But for somebody taking half of his field goal attempts, literally, he's taking 9 threes a game and shooting 18 attempts, right? For a guy that is shooting 60% from 2-point range, and that's not just around the rim. That's 2-point range, period. You got to think, it takes a lot of mid-range shots, all of that. He's shooting 60% compared to 35% from 3-point range. Give me the guy shooting 60%. He would have been a 30-point-a-game scorer last year if 4 of those threes were 2-pointers. Not to mention more rebounding, not to mention more free throws, not to mention putting pressure on the opposing defense, not to mention the, putting opposing defenses in foul trouble, right? Like, to me, again, keep teams on their toes. Run more pick and roll with De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama. They didn't run it very often. When they did, it looked terrible because they didn't run it enough, right? Obviously, the timing and everything that takes time, and I'm not saying they won't improve. If Wemby this year moves into a 40% three-point shooter, then beautiful, right? Then yes, now it's justified. But right now, based on what we saw last year, it's not justified. But here's the other side of things, because if you want more kind of insight and breakdown, go check out the video where I talked and I broke it down more in depth. Because what I want to talk about in this video is if Wemby is going to continue to take the volume of threes, right? Again, it's not him taking threes, it's the volume, right? Karl Anthony Towns isn't even taking 9 threes a game, right? Steph Curry is only averages like 10 to 11 threes a game. Victor Wembanyama is taking, 2 threes less at most than the greatest three-point shooter ever. And one guy's 6'2", the other guy's 7'8", right? Like, that's the difference, right? But if Wemby's going to take a bunch of threes, this team, you kind of look at the roster and you look at like, okay, what's the one position that would be best to maybe fill or make a trade or do whatever, right? And it's probably the power forward position. Right? Like Jeremy Sohan could probably step in the role, but his lack of shooting is really concerning. Carter Bryant, you could go if you wanted to, like a Harrison Barnes, probably your best option, but you could also go with the Harrison Barnes at the 3, right? Kind of have that shooting. If you're the Spurs, I think you definitely consider, and maybe even try it a couple times and just see. Right? You can also match up according to matchups, but I don't hate, and I even talked about this last season. I don't hate the idea of Wemby slotting in and playing the 4 spot. Now, I've heard people, like, the argument for is like, well, look at him against Rudy Gobert and Zach Collins and stuff like that, right? He didn't look good as a 4. Well, a couple things. One, it's hard to do anything when the guy slotted alongside you is basically a liability offensively outside of like 3 feet. Right? Like, Rudy Gobert might be the worst offensive center in all of basketball. Right? And then you add in, a Zach Collins who was like atrociously bad for us. He was actually really good in Chicago, but was like unplayably bad for us. Right? Like, again, it's very different when you have a Luke Kornet that understands, plays his role well, can help rebound, score around the rim, right? Do multiple things out there. Plus, not just that, Wemby wants to take, like I mentioned, 9 threes a game. So if he's going to take 9 threes a game, he's going to be out on the perimeter anyway, right? So let him be out on the perimeter and then kind of go there. Now, I'm not saying every game you need to do that. Like, say you're playing the Warriors and Draymond starting the 5, then it might be in your best interest to go with Wemby and kind of spread them out and make them have to switch and defend and all that stuff, right? Okay, cool. But like teams against, the Oklahoma City Thunder and they're running Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein, right? Go with the Kornet and Victor Wembanyama. Say you're playing the Memphis Grizzlies, right? And they're going Zach Edey and Triple J. I'd rather you do that. And especially like the Western Conference with like the physical centers. Yes, Wemby's put on more muscle, more weight and stuff, but like if I can prevent him from banging with the big boys as much as possible, especially over the course of an 82-game season, right? I would probably be best to do that. I'm not saying you don't have him do it at times, right? There are going to be times where, he's going to play the 5 and be the primary 5 and you're running, 5-out offense and doing all that stuff. But I also don't hate the idea of at times where you're kind of going with the two big lineups, and let Luke Kornet, let Kelly Olynyk bang with the big boys. Let them take the physical wear and tear so Wemby can kind of, stay healthy, stay right during the course of regular season. Once you get to the playoffs, you can always make those adjustments. If that two big unit actually works, beautiful. Then you just stick with it. If, it's a little clunky, then again, you can make the adjustments, you can make the changes. If it doesn't work at all, then fine. You easily just move Wemby back to the 5 and you go with the, Harrison Barnes at the 4 or whatever, right? Like, so again, it's not something that you have to, kind of set in stone. It's just something that I think that the Spurs should look to maybe kind of gauge and see, like, how does this look? How is this working out? How is this playing out? And if it is having success, kind of stick with it. And now Wemby can kind of be more perimeter oriented, right? Because Wemby wants to be more KD than Hakeem, right? Okay, well then I just think, like, you don't have KD playing center. You have him playing out on the perimeter because he wants to be more perimeter oriented. Even Wemby, like I've talked about, the 60% from 2-point range. Yes, but he's still taking mid-range shots and elbow shots and free throw line extended shots. And it's not like he's just back to the basket every possession, just cooking. And that's fine, right? Like, you want him to have that arsenal. That's what makes him so great, is he's 7'5" and can score at all 3 levels and from anywhere out there on the basketball court. That's an advantage to have. But you also don't want to bail out defenses by having your best weapon be limited to, like, hey, we're just going to have you shooting threes, right? Hey, we're just going to have you, you're just going to be perimeter oriented. Right? You want to mix it up. You want to keep opposing defenses on their toes. You want, like, hey, you want to put that big burly slow-footed center in there? No problem. Good luck defending Wemby out on the perimeter. Oh, okay, you want to go with the more, smaller, maybe athletic center? Okay, fine. Well, here's Wemby on the block. Good luck, right? Good luck trying to slow him down with that size, that length, and him being an automatic bucket, and he can just basically turn around and just drop the ball in, right? Like that's the things that I want to see from the Spurs team. They need to better maximize Victor Wembanyama, in my opinion. Now, again, last season was a little weird, a little awkward. Mitch Johnson kind of coming in, taking over for Pop. There, early on were a lot of questions of, like, is Pop coming back? Like, what's going to happen? Is he retiring? Right? Mitch is trying to kind of keep things in order and kind of stick into Pop's philosophies and stuff like that because, he doesn't want to shake anything up, doesn't want to mess anything up. Kind of just, I felt like a lot of times was kind of just letting the team just go out there and play rather than, like, structure and calling plays and stuff like that. So, okay, fine. But this year, that needs to change. This year, you're the guy at the helm. This team is in your hands. You need to better maximize Victor Wembanyama. But anyways, always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Else would not. Enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.